welcome her as she comes on. Yay!
Hello.
Nice to have you with us.
Wow, this is what it feels like. I can see a lot of
Yes.
love.
Yes, you see, they love you. I didn't even have to say anything. They're showing you love.
Please permit my ignorance, okay? I'm a JJC.
I have to tell you guys this. First of all, this is her first time of doing an Instagram live. In fact, she only joined Instagram a few days ago because of this. So can we show her some extra special love?
Thank
This woman,
you.
since we started Hangout Cafe, she's been there, but she will only watch the YouTube video. But guess what? She was always praying. So I'll send her the flyer and she'll pray and it'll go well. And now she's on Instagram.
Yes, I'm on this side.
That's why in life we should never say never, because you never can tell. Never say never. I love it when people say, I don't do Instagram. I don't do Instagram. And one day, Instagram will do that.
That's what's happened to me. Exactly what's happened. I've had a few friends reach out to go, I can't believe it. Someone said they saw you on Instagram. It's like, yeah, it's me. Definitely, it's me. At last, I can see it's the same. At last, Mayowa.
At last.
She's one of those people.
No, seriously, it's good to have you here with us.
Thank you.
Do you have, because it's a bit dark, I don't know if it's me, but your face is a bit dark. Do you have any
Really?
light around you?
Oh my goodness, I've got a light in the room.
Okay.
I don't know if maybe it's the way I set up my iPad or something. Maybe it's not bright enough. No.
When you get close, we can see your face better. But I mean, it doesn't matter. We can see you. So that's fine. It's fine. We can still see your face. It's just like it's slightly dark. But it's fine. So,
Dark, okay.
Welcome, Mayowa. Okay. Nice to have you here with us.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for agreeing.
Nice to be here.
Someone said sit closer.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good.
Let me bring. Yeah, I need to bring the stand closer. How is that?
Yeah, that's slightly better.
Okay.
That's slightly better. Okay, that's fine. Let's not worry about it.
Okay.
So, welcome, Mayowa, to Hangout Cafe. It's really nice to have you here with us. We actually appreciate you.
Thank you.
And
thank you.
Today is gonna be a fun day. I think we're so good. But before you start, let me just hang on. Let me put this. Let me pin that. Yes. Let me just tell people a little bit about you. So Mayowa Afunja. Is it Korede that comes first? I know you've got
2 names. People call me different names. In fact, 3. I go by Korede, I go by Mayowa, I go by Ayo. So Korede comes first. Ayo is just a short of Mayowa. People call me Ayo at work. So.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
You're right.
And people from school call me Korede. That's my first name.
Right. It's okay.
But
I've always known you as Mayowa. So
yes, that's what they call me at home. So yeah, that's how you know me.
And Mayowa is actually, she's not a stranger. I've known Mayowa for ages. Her sister and I actually went to the same primary school.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Okay, you didn't know that?
No.
Oh, went to
I just know your friends.
No, went to primary school.
Ah.
And then I've known Mayowa. We attended the same church for ages.
Yeah.
She's like family, really. So Mayowa is a child of God. She's aspiring to be the best version of herself. She's married with kids. She's a business analyst by profession with many years of experience in financial services and more recently in the transport sector. She loves singing. I know you sing in your church, don't you?
I do.
Yeah. She loves singing, exercising, cycling. She loves good food. And she says she loves making friends. That's good. But most importantly, in terms of today's session, she's passionate about helping people make the most of their money and becoming financially independent. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Great. So Actually, before we even get into the session, tell us a little bit, where did this passion for um, helping people make the most of their money and becoming financially independent, where did this passion start from?
Okay, so many years ago, when I came into the UK, I um, was looking for something more fulfilling work-wise. I was an administrator, just administrator, office administrator for a few years. And after I had my first child, I needed a change of career. It was just not enough for me.
Okay.
We had just taken out a mortgage, and yeah, and things were becoming really tight. So we completed our house purchase just a couple of days before I had the baby.
Okay.
So life had changed. I was no longer working in London. I was earning less in Milton Keynes, and it was not just working. So I called my mortgage broker then and said, look, this mortgage and all the different things we had put in place, savings, ISA and all of that, life insurance, what can we cancel because this is not working? And he came over and had a chat with me and said, by the way, your background is in banking, isn't it? So in Nigeria, I served with UBA trustees. So I had, I had exposure into investments and things like that. And also learned a lot from my dad, who was always into shares and talking about money and how to, better yourself and, save and invest for the future. So that was where the love started from. And I started working with my then mortgage advisor, got into financial services, qualified as a mortgage broker at first, and then did more exams and got more exposure into the financial advice sector. However, I must say today, I am not sitting here as a financial advisor or an expert. I
Okay.
have taken that hat off. And this is that anyway, that's how my passion started. And I
Okay.
started I focused more on properties and building property portfolios, and I was doing trainings and presentations on in that area, and also did some presentations for the Financial Conduct Authority,
Okay.
actually about making the most of your money. So I really, really enjoyed that, loved that, going to different offices and presenting to people. But this is a different ballgame. Now we're not in a room or, I am on IG Live. So I'm still really sweating. You can see I'm rubbing my palms.
Oh,
I haven't done this group kind of thing in a very long time. So please bear with me.
please show her some love. She was actually, when I asked her, she was so nervous. She kept saying, oh, I'm sweating. I'm actually sweating. So show her some love and you'll be fine.
Thank
Listen,
you.
listen, this place, the people are very friendly.
Yeah.
They show love. They give hugs. So Hangout Cafe family, all these things that I'm saying, don't fold my hand as they say. Just show her some love.
I hear it all the time. Unfortunately, I don't see it on YouTube. So,
Ah, yes, yes.
when I watch back the Hangout Cafe, I hardly miss any, to be honest. Man, it says show love, do all of that. It's all imaginary to me because it doesn't show on YouTube.
It doesn't show on YouTube. Yes, that's true. Yes. Yes, like Bukola Yemi said, we're just having a chat here. Imagine, remember I said to you, imagine it's just the two of us in the room.
Yes.
We're just having fun. So yeah, you'll be fine.
Thank you.
Right. Okay. And again, this session was inspired, like I said, was inspired by Mr. Adio Jomo. So thank you,
Mm,
Mr. Adio Jomo, for
yes.
inspiring this
Oh,
session because you brought
thank
it to
you.
my memory. Now, money is something a lot of us don't really want to talk about or
Mm,
discuss. And sometimes amongst the Christian circle, when we talk about money, we even say money is the root of all evil. But the Bible actually
this
says
is
it's the
love.
love of money, not money. So Mayowa is going to help us because honestly, we really have to become financially independent as best as we can. And I was listening to a session, someone's session a few days ago, and they were talking about, I'm sure you probably know this term, HEV, human economic value,
Okay.
and
I've
about
heard that.
how if that person that's, something happens to that person,
What's
what's the
the
value?
impact?
Maybe you help us explain it later on. But anyway, so let's get started. Maya, talk to us about
Yes,
most
before I
about
go
money.
into that, the human economic value, I heard it recently, though it's been something that I'd heard in the past, but it didn't really make sense. So it's something like if you were maybe a key holder to an office or something like that, and you were no longer there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I've heard it along those lines
Okay.
at work actually. You know, if you're no longer there, they try to put monetary value to that
On.
person's, contribution to the whole work.
Yeah.
That's what I understand it to be. So each of us actually, we've got economic value, either to our employers, and also to our families. I like that
Absolutely.
angle that you have put in there, to
Yeah.
our families. If we are not there, if we are not earning,
Yeah.
what value? I know we don't like to put monetary value on ourselves, but the truth is we're actually worth a lot, emotionally, physically, and
Yeah.
also financially to our family. So yeah, thanks for that. That's a nice spin on it. I'm going to add that to my future presentations. So today I'll be talking about different aspects of finances. I'll be talking about debts. I'll be talking about retirement. I'll be talking about savings and investments, and also financial protection, which will include wills and trust. I know it's not the most exciting topic based on the different things that we've heard here and on this platform, but
No, but it's
hey,
very important.
it
It's
is
very
important.
important. Yeah.
It is important. Yeah. So I'll start from debt. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Do I always have to click on this? My screen keeps going dark and I have to keep, maybe yeah, well, I'll do what I need to do and try not to be distracted. So debt, we all know what debt is. We all have one form of debt or the other,
Yeah.
at some point or the other in our lives. I know some people like to say that they are completely debt-free, and that could be some people's aim in life, to be debt-free. There's nothing wrong in that. So debt could be an obstacle in achieving one's dreams or goals. And really, there are majorly two types of debt. There is the secured and the unsecured. I must add here as well that most of all of the illustrations and statistics that I'll be sharing will be UK based, because that's where I am, and that's where most of my experience in this field is. Yeah. So secured debt, an example of a secured debt is mortgages. A lot of us have that, and unsecured debt, simplest one, credit card.
Yeah.
So let's talk a bit about credit cards. We all know what credit cards are. We have them, we use them.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to be teaching us how to suck eggs, but we'll just mention some common mistakes that we make with credit cards. One is only making minimum payments. A lot of us get into that habit. We make only minimum payments. But we should always have a plan on how to pay it off. Some people would say, yeah, they're designed for that purpose so that you could, be flexible with money. Yes, but if you don't use it well and properly, you could very easily get into, big debts and big trouble. So always have a plan to pay it off. If you're making minimum payments now, think of how you can manage to pay. And there are different ways. And you'll pick that up from the different things we'll talk about. Another one is missing payments. I know for many people, it's not intentional, and do as much as you can. Life just happens sometimes and you're squeezed. But that can really hurt your credit score. And then when you want to go for the big things like a mortgage, you're already impacted and you're not able to get the kind of mortgage that you need because your credit score is already messed up. Another common mistake is not reviewing our statements. Not reviewing our statements.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm also guilty of that. You just think everything is fine, hunky-dory, unless something huge happens. You're going, what happened there? How come, I'm being charged this much or something?
Yeah.
And it could be an error. It could be fraud. And if you don't review your statements, you will not be able to pick that up. And even though eventually it could be resolved, but it could have an impact now. You might not be able to use your credit card as you would normally use it. You don't have access to the money you would have, and it could then have a ripple effect. It's, sometimes surprising when I hear people, I've been in close, I've worked closely with people who help maybe people who are on the streets or people who are, homeless and things like that. And for some of them, it's just one little thing.
Yes.
They missed the payments, and then it spiraled out of control, and then they used the money for their rents to pay it, and then they were kicked out, and then things like that can happen.
And Sorry, before you go, it's so
Yeah,
true. Always check. People, we don't do that. We just assume, and not just credit card, any statement, bank
any
statement,
statements.
anything.
Yeah,
Even your bills, when they send your bills, check them.
yeah.
Check them.
It's amazing sometimes what you see and what you find out, and you're questioning, how did this happen?
Yeah.
Heard a story of some people committing fraud and taking out maybe like 1 penny from everyone's accounts. And you can imagine if they did that for millions of accounts, how much they would make.
Wow.
And those kind of things go under the
And you
radar.
don't miss a penny. You
You
are
don't
really
miss a penny.
you
It could be
don't.
a
Wow.
pound, and you don't, and it just goes like right under. And that's why they do it, because no one is going to be questioning, a penny.
Yeah.
Why did I get charged 5p? As in, it's only 5p. And
Yeah.
things like that happen. Meanwhile, someone is committing fraud and you don't know. Another major thing is taking out cash from a credit card. That's really a no-no. That's something you should absolutely avoid. Credit cards are not designed for that. And if you do that, you will be heavily penalized, because unlike purchases,
Yeah.
once you take money out of a credit card, the interest goes on immediately. And even if you, make your monthly payment or whatever, and you still have a balance, that it is like you don't have that period of grace.
Mm,
Um, so don't, if you have to borrow from somewhere else,
yeah.
try and do that. Don't take out money from a credit card unless you're doing like a balance transfer. And
Okay.
again, be very careful. Balance transfer, money transfer, those are available on some credit card deals, but check it. Sometimes they give you 0% APR, and
Yeah.
people don't understand that. It could just be 0% on purchases and
Yes.
not 0% on balance transfer, or it could be on balance transfer and not purchases. And
Yeah.
those are the kind of things that we miss. We see 0%, we get all excited and we
Yeah.
go out to use it. So that's another major thing. Some of us don't check what the applicable fees are.
Yes.
And you're not aware of how much they will charge you if you make a late payment or you miss
Mm.
your payment. Sometimes that will set you straight. If you're thinking, I'm only out, it's just five pounds, or you go over your limit, it's just by £5, but that could cost you a lot more than £5. And knowing what those charges are could, restrain you.
Yeah.
And as our people would say, set your brain in the right in the right direction and go,
Yeah.
this doesn't make sense. So know your APR, know the fees applicable. If you go abroad, know
Yeah.
how much they're charging for, spending in other currencies.
Yes. Yes.
That could really, whilst they might say it's okay to spend it abroad, how
Yeah.
much really are you being charged?
Yeah.
When
And are
you were
you
in
going to
the
be charged in that currency or?
currency, I was just going to say, when we go on holidays, they're
Yeah.
asking, do you want to be charged in pounds or euros?
Yeah.
You know, make sure you know what you're doing,
Yeah.
and you have that at the back of your mind.
Yeah.
And the last one I'll talk about, I mean, there are many, but yeah, time. Last one I'll talk about is closing a credit card.
Closing your credit card.
Closing your credit card.
Okay.
This one is the rationale behind it is, the average length of time that you have a credit for can boost your credit score.
Yeah.
So bear that in mind. If you're trying to consolidate, you're trying to, put things in order, there might be, cogent and genuine reasons for you to close a credit card. But if you've had a credit card for 10 years, 15 years, like whilst you were in uni or when you were in school and you're about to get a mortgage,
Yeah.
don't go closing that credit card, because if you do,
Yeah.
then you don't have that, it would impact your score, for example, and you're trying to buy a house, you're just getting my try to buy. If it just means, not spending it and
Yeah.
having it,
Yeah.
that is better than just closing it. Think, in short, that's all I'm trying to say.
Okay.
Think before you do that. So yeah, that's it about credit cards and unsecured loans.
Okay. Thank you.
Hopefully, yes. All right, I'm seeing a lot of comments. Should we be charged in pounds or euros? There is no right or wrong answers. Again, check with your card provider and just note how much you're being charged. It might be better in some circumstances depending on the exchange rate or how powerful, one currency is, but just, check to be sure. So you know what you're being charged. That's the thing. I'll go into mortgages, which is most of the time the secured debts that a lot of us do take out. For mortgages, that was part of what sparked this conversation
Yes.
last week when OJ spoke about paying his mortgage weekly, and he said, I've heard this before. Yes, that is one of the things I do one-to-ones with people, and that's one of the things I usually push for. If your aim is to pay off your mortgage, pay it down, even if you don't have that aim, this is no brainer, and this is how it works. I when I spoke to you, I was talking about fortnightly. I mean, you could do it weekly, but it depends. If you get paid weekly and that is convenient, by all means, go for weekly payments. Excuse me, for fortnightly payments, which generally people will find less daunting, because then the frequency that is coming out of your account is just twice a month. The way it works, this is an example, again, just for illustration. If my mortgage is £2,000 and I pay on the 1st of every month, so now my next payment will be on the 1st of March. So I will make, and most of us pay, all of us pay monthly. That is how mortgages are set up. Monthly payments, 12 payments a year. And if you're making capital and interest payments, so you're doing a repayment mortgage, that is when it makes sense, not for an interest-only mortgage. So if I'm paying £2,000 a month, on the 1st of March, my direct debits will come out for my normal payments. What I then want to do, before my next payment on the 1st of April, I'll split my £2,000 into two, £1,000 each. So we're not asking you to double your payments. Most of us don't have that money.
Okay.
Don't double your payments. Split that 2,000 into two. Pay 1,000 on the 15th of March, and the remaining 1,000 on the 1st. So in fact, it won't be on the 1st. Once you set it up for the 15th, for example, what you want to do, speak to your mortgage lender. Don't just, stop paying your mortgage. Most of the time, they will agree to it. If anything, they will just moan and say, we can't take that by direct debit. So you will set up a standing order. At the end of the day, a standing order is as good as a direct debit. So there is no big deal. But you have to set it up yourself and make sure that you check it and it's going out normally. So you set it up, you pay on the 15th and set it up for fortnightly. So it will then automatically, 1,000 will then automatically come out of your account every 2 weeks to your lender. So what that does is, most mortgages are calculated on a daily interest basis. So they calculate how much you have borrowed in total and calculate the interest on a daily basis, add it to the mortgage. And as you repay the mortgage, let's say it's over 25 years, you will finish paying it by the end of 25 years. So if you start paying fortnightly, it means that you are hitting that balance more frequently than 12 times a year. You will do that 26 times. And each time you hit that balance and reduce the balance, it means that the interest will not be lower. They're calculating interest on a lesser amount. Exactly. So it chips it off little by little. But you can imagine, you're doing this, you're not really, you're not doubling your payments. It's the same 2,000, you're spreading it out. Okay, by the end of the year, you would have actually, if you divide 26 by 2, you get 13. It's like paying 13 months instead of 12 months of the year. But the good thing about this is, you're not waiting till the end of the year to pay the 13th month. You're paying every 2 weeks. The frequency makes a lot of difference. And you will finish paying if you had a 25-year mortgage and you start from, year one, you'll finish paying your mortgage earlier than 25. It will probably shave off about, depending on the amount, about 4 or 5 years of your mortgage. And that is without even doing anything spectacular or thinking about it. If you are not sure how to do this, please DM me. Don't go you don't want to pay in arrears. What you're doing is you're paying in advance. If you pay in arrears, it would impact your credit file. So you don't want to pay in advance. You want to pay the first, half of it in advance. And then it will come out every 2 weeks. So that's the best way I can, explain that. So a mortgage is a debt. The mortgage on your house is a debt. It is not, don't view your property as such as it's an asset. I don't subscribe to that. It is a debt, and until you finish paying it, is a debt. Though you have equity on it,
Yeah.
which is good. So that's it about mortgages.
But is it possible to overpay, to pay more than the 2,000? So let's say I had an extra 1,000. Is
Mm.
it possible to
It
overpay?
is. Again, you have to speak to your mortgage lender. Not all mortgages allow overpayment.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is a sneaky way of doing it. You're
Okay.
overpaying, but because if you overpay your mortgage, and you're not allowed to overpay, they will charge you
Yeah.
a penalty. You'll be penalized for it. So you want to talk to your lender,
Yeah.
make sure that you get that agreement, and then do that. You don't want to just go off and do it.
Okay.
A lot of mortgages these days allow like 10% overpayment, even if you have a fixed rate. A lot of mortgages, but it doesn't mean it's every mortgage. Be
Okay.
very careful.
Yeah.
Speak to your lender before you do it, and some might not be as receptive. But there's really nothing wrong with setting up a standing order as long as they are aware.
Yeah.
And then that, yes, if someone is saying they charge for overpayment, yes, they do.
Yeah.
If you are not meant to overpay and you
Okay.
overpay, they will charge you. If you're only allowed to pay 10%, excuse me, overpayments in a year, and you pay more than that, they will charge you a penalty for paying more than that, overpayments allowed.
Okay.
So bear that in mind.
Great.
Yes.
Debbie, see, I think she just answered the question you asked. So yeah.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
just yeah, for number lovers, for example, I did some research and I found some interesting stuff. And people are saying, oh, how much really should I be spending on my mortgage, or how much mortgage should I take out? That is, I mean, you're not going to take out a mortgage yourself without speaking to a mortgage advisor.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you love numbers, for example, there's a 2836 rule that says your mortgage payment should not be greater than 28% of your monthly gross income. And 36% of your total debt. Just throwing that there. Some people like that. They
So
like numbers,
28% of your gross income
gross income, and it
and
should not be more than 36% of your total debt.
of your total.
So, but again, if you don't have any other debt, throws that out of the window. But yeah, the gross income. And there's also like the 70, 20-10 rule. Like 70% of your income should be for expenses, 20% to go to savings and investments. And if you have debt, really that should be there in that 20%. And then 10% for us Christians, tithing. And if you're not a believer in tithing, giving, donations, yeah, there is always something about giving. So yeah, the world understands that as well. They want us to give. So it's not just Christians that give. But bear that in mind.
Thank you for all these great tips, Mayowa. Wow,
Yes.
fantastic.
Yeah. I
Fantastic.
don't think you should be afraid of debt, really. I mean, whilst such debts as mortgages and business and car loans can show that you are stable or you're mature, but
Yeah.
having more debts that you can pay really is
That's
not a good thing. That's the problem.
Yeah.
It would affect your health, your relationships, your job, and a lot more. Yeah, some people have this idea of I want to be debt free, all well and good, but bear in mind it could hurt your credit score if you don't have any debts, if you don't have any credit cards.
Yeah,
Good.
that's the question someone just asked. That
Oh, really?
Should we really be having credit cards?
Look, I don't think, personally, I don't think you should be afraid of debt. I mean, great people in this world, that have done businesses and all. Do you think they actually save up money
No, I know they use
before
other
they can
people's
buy?
money.
They use other people's money and they borrow. So
Yeah.
really, it's not about having debt. It's about managing it.
Yeah.
That's what we should have at the back of our minds. But if you're struggling with debt, really, there are helplines out there. There is National Debt Line, there is Step Change, there is Citizens Advice Bureau. Take advice, get help. Don't bury your head in the sand because it would only get worse. It will not go away. It's not magic, and don't pray it away. It will not go. You have to, take that step and do something. God will not come down. This is the help God has sent to us.
Yeah.
So get advice, please. Don't bury your head in the sand.
Do you know what actually set me free from borrowing?
Yeah.
Is the scripture when the widow was told to go and borrow verses to.
Honestly, I was going to say that as well. I was coming to that. That was part of, I thought of that yesterday and said, yeah, I think he's in Kings.
Yes.
And yeah, I was going to talk about that in savings and investments actually. So I won't jump.
Okay, all right. Let's go on. But this has been really good. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All the
Thank
tips.
you.
Okay.
Yes. Fantastic. So let's talk about retirement.
Okay.
Yeah, all of us are young. I'm young. I'm not retiring yet. Yeah, but this is something we should bear in mind. You know, when we talk about retirement, what are we really talking about? Where would you be in retirement? Whether you're just starting out to work, you've just graduated,
Yeah.
there's nothing wrong in thinking about retirement. In fact, you should be thinking about retirement because you don't want to work all your life. You know, I know right now I've got kids who are excited about making money. They want to work, they want to make money. But once they start making the money, I'm going to be reminding them, think about when you don't want to be working for
Yeah.
money. What are you going to do? So I'm just going to throw out some statistics out there.
Okay.
A survey was done of 67-year-olds by, it's called Miracle Morning Survey. And one out of the 67 was very wealthy.
Okay.
4 were financially stable. 5% were still working. Fortunately, 36% of those in that group died before they actually retired. And 54% were still depending on friends and family in retirement.
54.
54%, so
Wow.
more than half. And that is why we should start thinking about retirement. I'm sure they didn't plan to be in that situation. But again, they didn't plan not to be in that situation. And that is where we should be. Plan not to be in that situation. I mean, I don't mind being in the 1% of the wealthy people. That's where I want to be because
That's where we
we're
ought
used
to
to,
be.
yes, or at least be financially stable, you know, if nothing. We don't want to be depending on people
Or
in
even our
retirement.
children.
When I say people, those ones in particular, they are
Yeah.
not like us.
Yeah.
We think about parents we've left in Nigeria and, you know, grandparents and extended family. That's how we were brought up. That's how we are wired.
Yeah.
You know, I've had interesting conversations with my kids. You know, they live in a house, they've got money, it's just mommy and daddy, and they are not thinking of anybody else. So they're not thinking about cousins, they're not thinking about uncles.
Yeah.
So their modus operandi is very different. So look after yourself.
Yes.
Look after yourself. It's important. So UK state pension. Again, please bear with me, those who are not in the UK. I'm sure you can do this research as well and check what is obtainable in your country. So in 2021, the state pension was about less than £7,000 per annum. That's what you get from the state.
£7,000.
Yeah, but hey, I am grateful that we even have that, and we can look forward to it and talk where we come from originally. Is there anything like that? No.
Well, they do have, because my mom is always saying, "Oh, this is some pension for why this one."
Yes, so exactly. Exactly. They have, but it doesn't mean that it's working.
Yes.
It doesn't mean that it's working, but we are in a country where it works. So it's fantastic. But in 2022, I think it's going up to just over £9,000. So hey, yippee, there is hope. But again, inflation has gone up, you know, and we're talking about how much utilities will cost is doubling. And it breaks my heart watching the news and seeing them, you know, interviewing old people. And they are really scared because, you know, they already had in mind how they're going to plan themselves and budget themselves. And it's not adding up. You know, which survey, we all know which magazine, which survey in 2021 actually came up with about £13,000 as what an average person in retirement will need. Yeah. We're not talking about luxuries. We're talking about food, shelter, you know, and just the essentials. And that was 2021. Inflation has happened. 2021, we're in 20, you know, yeah, it's going to be more than that. So if the state was providing less than 7,000, then, and the survey did show that an average person was spending, you know, needed 13,000. There is a gap.
Yeah.
How are you going to plug that gap?
Yeah.
How are you going to plug that gap? For a lot of us, we still have friends and family in Nigeria. We would always want to go back. That is a luxury. In retirement, that would be a luxury. So we will need more than what the states will provide. Yeah. And the good news is there is a solution for that. Okay. You could use your workplace pension or personal pension. If you don't have, I mean, by now, all of us, if you're working, you would have been forced to join one. That's how I put it, because you unless you opt out, you're automatically, you know, opted in. So that's a way to bridge it. There is, you know, I've heard people say, oh, it's just a waste. Why do I want to do pension? My mother did pension. And they go, yeah, there are tighter rules and laws in place now. You know, the days of Enron, are gone.
Yeah.
Let's be hopeful because they do have compensation schemes and things like that. And so companies have to be more responsible with people's lives and pension. So, and again, you make tax, you get tax relief from paying into a pension, either your workplace pension or personal pension. So if you wanna know more about pensions, you could go to www.gov.uk and look at pensions. There's information there about what a company pension entails and personal pension. Again, state pension age is rising. For a lot of us, we're born late 60s. If you're born between 1970, 1978, you probably fall in the age 67, 68 before you can take your pension. That's what we know now.
Yeah, we don't.
Anything can change. We know that people are living longer. People are living longer. They're spending larger proportion of their adult life in retirement.
Yeah.
So the government will keep pushing so that we can fund the state pension.
Yeah.
So bear that in mind. And also since 2015, actually, you can have access to your personal and company pension from age 55.
Okay.
So some people take the lump sum and go and start a business. Some use it to pay off their mortgage and different things. You can have the 100%, or you could get some of it. You could buy annuity, that's like an insurance, and start taking income from that to supplement your state pension.
Right.
Again, that is changing as well. The government is changing the dates. You can start accessing that to age 57. So from 2028, you have to be age 57 before you can access that. So you can see things are constantly changing.
Yeah.
And that is why you need to put something in place. But again, here, get advice. Pension is complex. It's not an easy thing to do. If you have pension in different places, speak to an advisor on how to, pull everything together. You can go on the www.gov.uk. A lot of us are immigrants, and you need to have worked for a number of years actually to qualify for the state pension. So it's not automatic. Whilst we're talking about it as if it's automatic, I thought to bring that in because some of us come here at a later age in life, and you might not have worked long enough to qualify. Yeah, so bear that in mind. So,
also just that state pension is dependent on your national insurance contribution.
Exactly. So if you have not worked for long enough, how do you contribute national insurance? It's taken from your wage. And that's exactly, you're right. That's what it is. And it depends on other things too. You might take gaps and things like that. But again, it's a complex area. I wouldn't want to start sounding like I'm giving advice because I'm not. This is just for information.
Just educating us.
Exactly. I'm educating you. It's for information.
Yeah.
Seek advice from a professional person, a financial advisor in that regard. Yeah.
Okay. Wow, this has been good. I've only covered 2. So
yeah, we've covered 2. We've got 2 more. The rest is not that big. Financial protection, wills and trusts. Landmine in our community. So often families do not understand financial protection. They don't understand what they have, and they don't understand what it is. Some end up having inadequate protection, mismatched cover to their needs. They're uncertain about the covers they have. Some have no protection at all. They've got their reasons, which I don't believe holds water at all. We are in a country and in a place, even back home in Nigeria, people do have life insurance now. So there is really no excuse for it. All this, we are just paying into something. You will never get the money. Please, when you buy car insurance, are you praying to have an accident? You're not. It is in case, you have an accident. You want to make sure that, you're not out of pocket and you're not having to, shell out a lot and put somebody else, in trouble because you can't afford to pay for your own, let alone somebody else's, damage. So we need to bear that in mind. Think of it this way. If you had a goose that lays golden eggs, which one would you protect? The goose or the golden eggs? A lot of us protect the golden eggs. Those are just our possessions, our cars, because if you don't have car insurance and the police stops you, you're in trouble. Our homes, because the mortgage lender is part of their condition to have home insurance.
Yeah.
But your life, there's no police watching you. There is
Mm.
nobody else watching you. But hey, your dependents are watching you. They are. We don't take out life insurance because we're going to die. We take it out because our dependents are going to live. And that's just one type of
I
insurance.
love that.
So
I
bear
love
that in mind. Yes.
That's the way to, because a lot of us, we don't take it out because we're saying, I would die. I'm not going to die.
Nobody wants to die. Nobody wants to die. But you've got a huge mortgage. Your dependents have got hopes and dreams. I want my children to go to uni. I want them to be at least comfortable. And I am that goose that provides the golden eggs and everything else. The money that comes into the family that makes us tick as we do. If anything happens to me as a result of illness, accidents, or death, you don't have control over those things. What you have control over is how you protect your family. If I'm not here, do I still want my children to achieve their goals and dreams of going to uni? Do I want them to still have a roof over their heads? Do I want my spouse to be able to carry on with life and do what they want to do, without having to overly worry that half of what usually comes in is no longer there? Even if you're not bringing anything in, you're not, working and earning, you're just maybe a sit-at-home parent. The fact that somebody else can go to work whilst you look after the children is something that is one HEV, your economic value. That is something, because if you're not there, that means the children would have to go to a nursery or something. That is something you can protect and cover. So I'll just, how life works is when you're young, you've got children, you're still working, you've got high debt, a high mortgage. That's really when you need the cover. And that's when it's even cheaper because of your age. And you're not likely to have, illnesses or diseases. There are some illnesses that come with age. And as you get older, it gets more expensive. And though your children are grown, you're nearing retirement, you might not have any debt or low debt, and you have no mortgage. But you don't really need cover. What you should be thinking about is your pension then, and day-to-day living. So think about it now. If you don't have one, or you took one out 20 years ago, life has changed, things have moved on. Review it, get a chance to review it. In those days, you might even get a cheaper cover for cheaper premium for the same cover you have. Check it, review it. So again, we know what life insurance is. There is critical illness and serious illness. These are just types of, financial protection you could take out. So serious illness or critical illness will pay out a lump sum if someone is diagnosed with a sickness or an illness in their list. They usually have a list. There's income protection that you can use to replace your income if you were ill due to accident or some kind of illness that prevents you from working. And there is private medical insurance that is now becoming more and more popular. People use it to jump NHS queue. We know what COVID has done. And what people can get their they can get an appointment to do investigations and all of that. If you had private health insurance, for example, you could jump the queue, or you could be flexible in where you choose to get your care or something. So that's it's a luxury for some people, but hey, if you can afford it, think about it.
Again, I need to go back to this thing that you said about you don't take life insurance because you're going to die. But because your dependents are going to leave. Absolutely so important.
They're going to leave. And I'll quickly touch on wills and trust. Again, another thing we don't like to hear about. You say wills and people are like, I'm not dying yet. I'm not old. I'm not,
Please, Mayowa, talk about this because this is so important. I mean, someone dies and then the children are struggling and oh my goodness, talk about this. It's so important. Wills,
and you'll be surprised that it's not only used for death. So statistics again, 31 million people in the UK at risk of dying without a will. So it's not really it's not really a black thing, an African thing. It's everywhere. And in 2020, the UK government gained £5.4 billion from people who died without a will. So if they don't have a will and there is nobody to claim, the crown, the queen is making, that's where all the money is coming from, peeps. So let's put our wills in place and trust. So a proper will and trust could potentially save tens of thousands of pounds in care home fees. Care home fees.
mm,
Nobody wants to go into care homes, but I've heard stories when, a family, a client told me and said, there is a lady who separated from her husband many years ago. The kids were still young. She struggled, got back on her feet. And as her kids were growing older, her firstborn and her got together, got a mortgage so it could be affordable. And life was fine, honky-dory. The kids are grown. They've left home. He's gone to get a different mortgage with his wife. Everyone is happy. And then she gets ill. She gets brain aneurysm or whatever they call it, aneurysm, and ended up in the hospital, never got back to herself. She has to go into care. Now, she does not have a will and it's not in trust.
wow.
And the family has been forced to sell that home to pay for care.
Okay.
And that can happen. That is legal.
Wow.
If you have a will in place and you put it in trust, that could potentially save your family that heartache. That was supposed to be the children's inheritance. It's going to go.
Sell it now because
it's going to go and use it to pay for care fees. So let's bear that in mind. This is a complex area. I'm not an expert again in wills and in trust, but seek advice. And you could put your will in trust just to save. No one wants to die. I mean, that woman is ahead. She's not an old woman. She was a nurse. She was working and it just happened. So I spoke to someone else this week who said the same and said to me, oh, my father is in care. Again, something like that happened. It was sudden. Thank goodness he's a financial advisor. So he had all of that sorted and said, we're keeping the house. The state will pay for that care. And if they wanted to do more, they could then, take out the money from, whatever their father has left and use it to care for them. But you could be forced, and that's where you don't want to be. You don't want to be in that place where you don't have a choice. Yeah.
Okay. I need to address this. Someone said people don't do wills or don't make wills because they don't have anything to will. It's not necessarily about having something. It's not. Please
it's not.
You can't explain that.
Yeah. For example, with what I've just said, and even if you don't have a home or whatever, you think you don't have great possessions, in a will, depending on how, again, I'm not an expert. You could have things like power of attorney in a will. If you were ill and unable to make decisions for yourself, who do you want to make that decision for you? I've spoken to people who are single parents. They've got young children. Who do you want to take care of your children if you are unable to? Not only if you die, but if you were ill and unable to, something happens and, you're unable to think for yourself, you're unable to access your bank and manage your finances yourself. Who do you want to help you with that? For yourself and also for your children. Those kind of things can go into a will. So let's stop thinking of a will as in after my life, when I'm dead. I don't have anything to pass on to my children. I don't have, if you've got life insurance, for example, it's not a house, it's not anything, no matter how small, that's something that could pass on to your children. If they're still young and not age 18, do you want to put 100,000 in their hands? No. If you've got a will, you put it in trust. Those are the kind of things that can be addressed, and you nominate people that can do that for them. So let's bear that in mind.
And I think I remember clearly one of the benefits of having putting the will in trust is for inheritance tax purposes.
Yes, for those. I mean, I want to believe that for a lot of people who might fall into that inheritance tax bracket. Well, I think it's an assumption. But if you are, I can't remember what it is now. It's 300 and something. Anything above that is taxable. You pay inheritance tax on it. Just get advice, get advice. Whilst that might not be the case now, in another year, 2 years, 10 years, your property might double in value and you could fall into it. So why not do it now? And we're saying we don't have that money now. Hey, we are all millionaires in the making. So bear that in mind and do it.
And again, like Uzo said, someone a will helps in admin for your bank accounts, your pensions,
everything.
Everything.
It makes it easy. It makes it easier.
Don't even think about, I don't have anything now. Think about even if it's just your children, even your clothes. But I want auntie from somewhere will not come
Let them not come and take it. Yes. And the last bit is about
Yeah.
savings and investment. So savings and investment. A lot of people will go, can I save? I don't even have money. I saw a quote this week and said, don't blame your, I can't remember exactly how it was put. Something about, I screenshot it and put it, but something about don't blame your lack of savings on your income. So yeah, something along those lines. So I thought, this is interesting when I started preparing for this. So if, for example, you work for about 40, we work an average of 40 years in our lives. If you make about £25,000 per annum, it might not sound like a great deal of money or big money, but over 40 years, do you know you would have earned 1 million?
Wow.
If you earn about 50,000 per annum, over 40 years, you would have earned 2 million. If you earn about £75,000, let's say a family income, or even only you, over 40 years, you would have earned 3 million. So really, it's not, let's think about it this way. It's not what you earn, but what you keep that counts most. It's what you keep and that you can then use as you will. I mean, there are people who earn a lot.
Yeah.
And put them beside some people who don't earn that much and check out their lifestyle and check out, so it's not really, I've heard about those who won the lottery and then next thing they're sleeping rough after a few years.
Yeah.
So really, let's look at it that way. It's not about that much money, but how much they're able to keep making their money work for them and being sensible with it. So make your money work harder for you. Use what you have to get what you need. Simple things like, to get what you need, like assessing your spending, don't just spend anyhow. Use budgets, you could do a simple spreadsheet or use budget planners. You could Google budget planners online. I'm sure there are, tons online that you could use. Some people find it difficult. One way that, practical way that you can do it is maybe for a period of 2 to 3 months, use one credit card for all your expenses. Try and pay it up at the end of the month. But if you can, a lot of us have multiple cards and we use it. If you can clear one, have one, use it. Yeah. And then you can see your pattern. Every month, you have a good idea. If you're not the one kind of person that likes writing things down and all, in all that statement, you will see what you spend money on. I mean, over 3 months, it will show up. And then you will have an idea of how much you spend per month. You can use that to capture your spending habits, then plan and budget from there. Always shop around for the best deals. I think we all know that now. We all listen to money saving experts and all of that. You don't owe anybody. You don't owe any bank. You don't owe any provider any kind of loyalty.
It's always good to talk, honestly. The other day, and I'll tell you this, I was going to upgrade my phone. And then when I called, fortunately, it was a lovely lady. She said to me, because when she now told me how much I was going to be paying, I thought, that's a bit too much. Then she said to me, you know what? Why don't you not upgrade for now? And she said, apparently, and apparently a lot of people don't know this well here. Once you've paid off your, when you upgrade and they tell you, let's say you're paying £40 or £50 a month. Once you've paid off that, your payments can actually come down, but they don't tell you.
Some people do SIM only. We do that. Like this phone.
It was almost, I was amazed.
It's almost 4 years I've had this phone.
I was shocked. I was paying 40-something pounds a month before, but now I pay £17. Just
you see, you don't owe anybody. I mean, some people will go to the shop to go and upgrade their phone. It is all well and good if you can always ask for a deal. You then go online. We do that, or call them and call EE. You already know what they give you in the shop, but call them and say, I can't, in fact, I can't afford this. I want to leave. Can I, if they don't pick up your phone, press the option to leave EE or to leave whatever you're providing. They will call you back. And then say to them, I can't. Do the same for Sky. I can't, what can I do to reduce? I can't pay. They will give you a deal. Push and ask, ask. If you don't ask, you don't get. I've asked for deals in the most ridiculous places. Nando's is free just sometimes to have fun. Like, we have plenty here, and we're all doing bottomless drinks. There are 10 of us. Why should I pay for 10 bottomless? I can't do it. Call your manager. It might be a big thing, but hey, somebody's saying it's cryptocurrency, willable. It's money. I believe so. It's money, cryptocurrency. You can will it. That's money. It's, you know, you use money to buy crypto. It is money. Yes, you can do that. So again, back to that, you know, check with bank accounts, utilities,
Yes.
insurance, home
Yeah.
insurance, check, you know, and check for the best deals and move if you need to,
Yeah.
and save money. Consider multiple streams of income. That is really key.
Mm.
Gone are the days, you know, where you just sit with one thing and you sit there all through and that's
Yes.
what you do.
Yeah.
No, 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 no,
Yeah.
no. That's not on anymore. You don't have, you know, a reason to do that. There are now many opportunities since we've been home in this lockdown. Even I have, you know, spread my wings and looked at other things that I would normally not have considered. You know, if it's something I can do on the side that doesn't necessarily take my time,
Yeah.
that is a winner. And if it takes little time and I can make a bit of money outside my 9 to 5, why not? Um, and again, back to using what you have to get what you need. That thing, I put it down, Second Kings, I think it's in Second Kings 4,
Yeah.
where Elijah asked, you know, what do you have? And, you know, she had a jar and also said, go and borrow. And I like that angle as well. Use what you have to get what you need. Some people are saying, Mayowa, it's easy for you to say, I want to invest in properties. I want to do, but I don't have money. You think you don't have, but look inwards, look at what you have. That widow had only the jar. You've
Yeah.
got a spare room in your house. What is he doing? You
Yes.
know,
Yeah.
if you can rent that out, Airbnb couldn't be any easier these days, you know, and it doesn't have to be someone living in your house perpetually. It could just be you don't mind having someone in your house, you know, 3 days in the week or something like that.
Do you know,
Go
I
for
heard
it.
this. I don't know if it's true because I'm going to investigate it. Apparently,
Mm-hmm,
someone, something that I saw that Premier Inn, you know, the hotel
mm-hmm.
Premier Inn,
Yeah, yeah.
they actually don't own properties. They actually lease the property and then they use that to.
I'm
So
not
I'm going
surprised. It's many things. I mean, what's the name of this coach that we all use and see? National Express.
yes.
They don't own the buses.
Wow.
They don't. So many people do that. Even in properties, like you said, some people, you know, I don't want to go heavily into properties,
Yeah.
but you don't have to own a property to rent it out.
Mm, mm,
People lease properties
yeah.
and then rent it out for Airbnb and
Yeah.
all. Again, before you rush to go and do anything, there are many
Your mortgage lender.
providers,
Yeah.
the person's mortgage lender and all of
Yeah.
them, many providers. If you don't need your mortgage lender to rent out a room in your house, I don't think
No, you
it's
don't.
not a biggie. If you're converting your house to from a residential to a buy-to-let, yes, you need to inform your mortgage lender.
Yeah.
So yeah, so you can make money in properties in different ways, you know, leasing someone's property and renting it out. Now there are ways to do it, very legal,
Oh.
and you have to learn about it. Don't go jumping into something. There are many people who do it, and you can find out, and I could help you find out if you want to know. But you know,
Oh.
you could remortgage your house, and please be careful on this. I know, and I'm not contradicting myself about paying off your mortgage early, but you could also you could be sitting on equity. You
Yeah.
could be cash poor and equity rich.
Yeah.
Now there is no point, you know, putting everything in a can and sitting on it. You could, you know, potentially take equity from your property to start a business, to, you know, buy to let business or any other kind of
Yeah.
business, and leverage on that. The
Yeah.
sensible thing to do is to get advice.
Mm,
Don't jump. If you don't pay your mortgage, your home will be repossessed.
yeah.
You don't want to stretch yourself to the extent that you can't. And again, don't cut corners when you're doing business. Get advice, get training. I never get enough of training. I want to do something. I'm looking for those who have done it. I'm looking for
Yes.
those who train people. I want to learn about it, you know, to minimize the risk and the mistakes and the errors. Ask people, go for training, read books. I always say to you, I'm not a big reader. Yeah. So when I read, I'm trying most of the time. Now I've started reading for leisure.
Yeah.
I'm one of those people, 7 steps to
Yeah.
this, how to build a property portfolio. That you can never get too much education. Research, 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 even in investment.
Yeah.
Don't go into crypto because every Tom, Dick, and Harry is going into it. Research, do your research, ask people, make sure you're comfortable with the risk. The higher the returns, the higher the risk.
Yeah.
Are you prepared to lose that money?
Mm,
If you lose the whole of the £1,000, are you prepared? Don't go and take 100% of your pension that you've got access to and put everything in crypto. That is foolish.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't do that. You know, be careful. Spread your risk. You could do joint ventures with people because it's easier to manage the risk. You can draw, but be careful who you're going to, joint venture with. You don't want to go into someone that is one money that will kill you with hypertension before. There are people like that. So don't go into investments blindly.
Talking about investment, I think we'll probably get DJ Yemi to come and talk about crypto and Bitcoin. I know you're on DJ Yemi.
And he's my person too. So yeah, we've done things together before. So yeah, again, do your research, get advice, spread your wings. Don't stick to one thing. You can do properties, do crypto, I know people don't like multi-level marketing, but hey, people are making money from it. If that suits you, if that is something, if the risks are lower, then get into it. Don't be eyeing someone making high returns, but you are not able to take that risk. Don't bother, eyeing there and putting I want to do properties, I want to do this, I want to do it. Can you, if they call you in the middle of the night that the tap is leaking or the gas is not, are you able to cope with that pressure? So let's be very careful when you're investing. Yeah, someone said investing money online, you should be willing to lose the money. Yeah. If you don't like that kind of thing, you might want to put your money into an ISA only that it pays diddly. There's nothing. So yeah, try and have a pot of savings. They say about 3 to 6 months of your income in cash savings, easy to access. So that kind of thing you could put in ISA. But to be honest, these days, even inflation could erode that. But it makes sense to put it in something very liquid, something you can easily access if you need it. So that's really me. Don't want it to be heavy.
Okay, we've got some questions.
Yeah.
Any suggestions on how to find a reputable financial advisor, please?
Yes, I actually work with a number of financial advisors and those who can provide you with advice and financial planning solutions. So you could DM me, and I can help you with that. Like I said, I don't provide advice, and what I do when I do one-on-one with people is provide them with what I call a financial game plan. So it's just like a financial sat nav. It encompasses anything, your goals, your dreams, financial goals, dreams, or things that have to do with money, and put things in perspective for you. And if there is a gap there that we identify and things you want to do, because I don't advise and I can't give you advice over, then I will, put you in touch with, it doesn't mean you can't use your own, but I've got carefully selected partners that I work with that I can then put you in touch with. I even started doing travel recently and I was excited, and just talking to someone said, we're planning to travel later on in the year and I just want to do it well. And someone who can take that off me and help me do all the research. It's a group of us. And yeah, so if you're in the UK, you're traveling outside the UK, someone to look at flights and accommodation, or you're going from one country to another, something like that. And yeah, reach out to me, have a long plan, and you can pay in installments towards it. It's all protected and all of that. So it's not just insurance and mortgages, protection, wills and trust. I can, point you in the right direction, but I don't advise.
Okay, so please send her a DM if you want.
Yes, and I'm going to be learning. Yes, PFA is going to teach me how to look into my DM and all of that, because I've not reached that level yet. I only joined IG recently, so I've been doing this word of mouth one-to-one.
Okay, send her a DM or send me a DM or send me a message, and I'll put you in touch with her. Definitely. So next question. Please ask her to explain the power of attorney. Not everyone understands it.
All right, in layman's terms, again, I'm not an expert, so I'm talking from what I know and experience. A power of attorney is you're giving someone else the rights to make decision for you, and it's not just willy-nilly or anytime, but they would stipulate when that can happen. So if for example, someone was poorly and could not think on their own or make decisions on their own. So it could be a mental kind of illness or even physically that then, prevents them from taking such decisions. Then you would have nominated someone to make that decision for you. So this power of attorney in this case is power of attorney for finances, and it will be specific, and it could be for a period as well. So if you couldn't do that, or you were not around and you have kids and no one else to do it, or even if you've got your partner, you could say, I want my partner and maybe a friend, a trusted friend as well, to jointly decide what my family does with this 1 million I'm leaving for them, that kind of thing. So that's what power of attorney is in layman's terms. So I've not Googled it to tell you the terms, legally, but in layman's terms.
That's what it is. Thank you. And what advice would you give regarding pensions for business owners?
I am not an advisor, so I'm not giving you advice. I'm going to give you information. You can do a personal pension. You need to talk to a financial advisor. I'm also self-employed and have been since 2001, too. So having a private pension is a good option because you don't have an employer that will force you into it or will contribute on your behalf. But there are ways you can do it and do it sensibly, and they will take into consideration your attitude to risk and will determine how that is, where they invest the money and what the returns will be. Can give you an idea of how much you will get in retirement. So that's very easy and simple. If you speak to the right person, they can set up like a SIP, a self-invested pension plan for you, or any other kind of personal pension.
Great. Okay. I think that's all we got. The questions. But this has been absolutely brilliant, Mayowa.
I can't believe we got to the end of it. Yay!
It's brilliant. But one thing, this other, remember I said I was with, as part of a session not a few days ago, and this gentleman was saying that a lot of times when we think about money, we always think about it's more offensive than defensive. So, and he used Nehemiah. He said, you build the wall first before. So all the things that you talked about, the protection, life insurance, all those things, we should have those in place first.
We should.
Before we start.
It doesn't stop you from investing and buying more properties or doing anything. You can always review them accordingly and add on to it and all, but solidify your base and make sure that you don't want to work for nothing and do all of this and poof, you don't want to have a house with, anyway, your mortgage lender won't let you have that, a house without insurance. If anything happens, that's everything you've worked for, like woof, it just goes in a snap of a finger. You don't want that. You want to solidify your base, have a good foundation, and then build on it. Again, start small, grow big. Don't go out and do everything together. Crypto here, this and that. I know a lot of us are like that. You want to catch up, but no, just try something for a while. It might not be for you. It might not work that way. I say to people, there are different ways, because one person is making money in property in this way does not mean that's the only way.
For you,
there are different ways and different things. So find your way, learn your craft, and do it right. Don't cut corners. Take tax advice. You don't want to build all of this and then the tax man comes knocking on your door and, be sensible.
And you know what? Sometimes when we hear about these rich people and we hear about how they've been able to not cut corners, how they've been able to get away with paying less tax, we always get upset. But they've just been wise.
Exactly. There was something in the news a few years ago about wills and trust, about a guy. Now I can't remember. I read it and I was like, wow, and saved millions of pounds. This was a super rich person in inheritance tax, had a manor and all of that. And people were like, oh, if anyone should be paying tax, it should be them. It should be, like, why are you hating? He didn't do anything illegal. He just used, the law is there, and it's not, you are not trying to avoid tax, I know you are just being smart. You are being smart. So it's available to everyone. Do your own. And save your little, thousands or millions, and stop hating someone that saved, millions, hundreds of millions. He was smart. That's all.
And
so let's be smart.
Someone just said we should teach children about finances just as we'll teach them about God and other education.
We
I
should.
wish I'd
We
learned a
should.
lot earlier.
Honestly, I wish I had known a lot earlier. I try to
Yeah.
talk to my kids about it. I see video clips and things like that that are very informative and educational. I send it to them and I say to them, did you listen to that? I got one recently about it was Robert Kiyosaki and going about income expenditure, investment and assets and things like that, and saying, in his life he's had to do what he hates
Yeah.
so that he could get to where he wanted to. I hear a lot of our young children going, oh, I want to follow my passion. This is what I'm passionate about. Whilst you want to follow your passion, will you put money on the table for you and your family? Would you make you financially independent? Or am I still going to be paying your way? Man, I've got my life to live, and we're living longer, and I want to have pension and all.
Yeah.
Would I still be supporting you financially just because you want to follow your passion? I'm not saying don't, but be sensible.
Yeah.
Find something else on the side that would do. You might have to do what you hate. And Robert Kiyosaki was saying he had to learn about taxes, had to learn all of that.
That
He hated
recently.
all of that.
Yeah, I saw it. I don't know where I saw it. I just
I
remember
will
that.
send it again to you. I saw it. It was a short one, about a minute, and said I had to do and learn what I don't really like.
Yeah.
Because it would help me in, to gain or to get faster or more comfortable with what I like and where I want to be.
Yeah.
And that's what we should have in mind.
Yeah.
That's what we should have in mind.
Because, like they said, yes, tax avoidance is actually legal. Evasion of tax is what is illegal.
Yeah, thank you for that. That's the word I was looking for. Tax evasion. Yeah, let's be smart. I mean, be smart. I'm self-employed. Every year I sit in front of my accountant and I go, what should I be doing different? What am I doing? How can I save more tax? How can I do? If you're self-employed, pension is a good way, because again, if you put money in pension, even with employed people, you don't pay tax on that money that you're putting in pension. So it reduces your tax bill. If you're employed and you're on high income tax rates, using pension could also help you. If you do salary sacrifice and put more, if you're able to, it would, it could bring you back to basic rate tax. And there are things. Speak to your advisor, and but if you have the information, then you know what to ask, won't you? But don't be afraid to ask, what should I do different? What should I do better? How can I do it better? Yeah.
Wow. Fantastic. This has been absolutely fantastic. And folks, please, 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 if you want to get in touch with Mayowa, her handle is at Mayowa Afonja. Send her a DM. I will teach her how to get into her.
But now I know my handle. Thank you.
Handle. But it's brilliant. She'll have sessions with you. She'll talk you through and refer you to a financial advisor. But it's so important. Let's stop putting our head in the sand and thinking, oh, this will never happen. Yes, I know we're all children of God. We're all, God loves us, but we just never know what's around the corner. So it's good to protect ourselves, and just as God is protecting us, very important. So please get in touch with Mayowa, and she can help you and point you in the right direction.
Oh, thank you.
Mayowa, this has been
brilliant.
Great session.
Honestly, I
really,
really applaud all your barristers. I mean, I always knew it was not easy. I never for once thought it was easy. Talking about this, an area familiar with, and but people coming here to be vulnerable and sharing, and how much I love Hangout Cafe and how much I believe Hangout Cafe has got me here and doing what I'm doing now, because for many years I shied away from it. And my story, Pastor Frank. I've spoken to you many times before, where I've been really scared taking steps. And listening to this and being part of the Hangout Cafe family has helped me to rediscover myself. And that's what I keep saying to you, that I'm trying to be the best version of myself. I have reached out to people through the Hangout Cafe. I have put myself through therapy. I mean, I never thought I would. I didn't think I needed one. And it's helped me to look inwards and and forwards in Jesus' name. Thank you so much.
No,
thank you enough.
No, seriously,
thank you to all the barristers.
We've had, like you said, we've had amazing guest barristers. Amazing.
And
you're one of them now.
Can you imagine? Yes. Thank you so much.
No,
Thank you so
this
much.
is really good. Really, really good. It's been good. Really good. I'm so
Thank
glad
you.
you agreed to do it, despite all
Yes,
the
and I've
fears that
enjoyed
you
it.
had. It's been
I know I'm still sweating, but it's not as bad.
And you know, that's another thing where really we may be apprehensive about things, doing stuff. Um, but you know, just do it, even with the fear and trepidation and
Do it
everything.
afraid.
Just
Do
do
it
it.
afraid.
Exactly, do it afraid.
That's what I've done.
Yeah,
Yeah.
do it
Yeah.
afraid, and you'll be
Thank
amazed.
you.
And I really have to say this because sometimes we're not even sure, but you'll
Hmm.
be amazed at the impact you'll have on other people. But
Yeah.
just step out. There are people who are waiting for you, and I'm speaking to any people that are listening, people that are on
Hmm.
now. You'll be amazed at those who are just waiting for you to step out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
So yes, please just
Yes, let's do it. I was waiting to be perfect. I was waiting to have everything. And hey, everything I've spoken to you about, it's not everything I've got, nailed down.
mm,
That's why I said I'm working to be a better version of me.
yeah,
But I just realized the more I wait, um, the more people out there that would miss out on at least hearing, the little that I might have done, or yeah, might even do much better than me in all of these areas, and that doesn't really matter. It's what, this is where God wants me to be, and I'm grateful that I did it scared.
well
I've
done,
jumped
well
in the
done,
deep end.
well done. Lady,
Thank
I
you.
love what you just wrote. Hangout Cafe, changing lives one barrister at a time. Please send that to me. Maybe that will become a
Wow.
slogan. I love that. I love that. Oh my God. I don't really want to go now to sit
Presence
down
over
here all day.
perfection. Thank you. Honestly, reading the comments, presence over perfection. I love that. I'm
Yes.
going to take that. I'm
Yes.
going to take that.
Oh, I love
Yes.
that too. Lady, send that to me too, please.
Presence
Presence
over
over perfection.
perfection. Yes.
Ooh,
Can
just
you see
show
all these
up.
comments afterwards? Oh, I should be writing quickly.
I'll
Yeah.
send it to you. I'm sure Lady
Thank
will
you.
send it to me. Wow. Presence over
Over
perfection.
perfection. I
And
love
that's
that. I'm
saying
going to
just
take
show
that.
up. Just
Mm.
show up.
Hmm.
Wow. Wow.
Hmm.
Okay. More nuggets, please. No, it's amazing what we learn. We can learn from each other. Seriously,
Hmm.
so many nuggets. But
Yeah.
okay, let me let you guys go. It's almost
Thank you.
1:30.
Wow.
Love
Yes.
you so much,
Madam.
Mayowa.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Love you too,
you.
sis.
Love
I'm
you,
really,
folks.
really
Every
grateful.
oh
Thank
no,
you.
I'm grateful, and I get our audience are grateful too, and every single person that's joined, and those who keep joining us. God bless you. Thank you
God
so
bless you.
much.
Thank you.
Please share the video. It's going to go on YouTube shortly
Yeah.
and share it. Love you all.